everyone. I'm Ann with Andale Homestead.
Hey everyone, it's Casey over at Ormsby Farms.
Good evening. This is Sandy at Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona.
And I'm Monica at Bland's Promised Land Ranch. Welcome in, everybody. This is our first night live.
Woohoo!
Night live. Yeah. So normally we're live on Friday morning / early afternoon, 11 Central, noon for everyone else, like Eastern time. And of course, Sandy's at like 10 a.m. Right. So normally we're on Fridays, but we've had to switch it. So now we're going to be live here on Tuesday evening. So I'm excited to be here with you guys earlier in the week, especially because our podcast came out yesterday. And on yesterday's podcast, we talked about ways to make money on the homestead. Now, I just gave a talk on how to save money on your homestead a couple weeks back, but this was all about making money. So we talked about a bunch of different things on the podcast. So let's see, who am I going to throw it to first? Maybe we'll throw it to Miss Ann and she can say hello to everybody. And then we can start talking what's going on.
There you go.
That's a good choice.
Yeah,
might as well,
We're so glad. All right, I'm going to pull this little chat right on up here. Joe, fix it for you. He's always the first one in the chats. Cutie patootie. Hey, Teresa Jukowitz and Jesse's girl. I love her. Todd Rainey. Hey. Hello, Todd. Whistle Stop Homestead. We're so glad to have you here. My buddy, my pal, Jersey Dolphins. He says, I'm just here for the beer, y'all. Which is at night, you never know. Lazy Days Ahead with Jesse and Lisa. Jesse is our big mod father, the mod man that takes care of all of us, and we adore him very much. Thank you for being here, Rebecca Touched by Yarn. She says, hey, everybody. Nancy with Our Treasured Home. We're so glad that you're here. Thank you. So let's see. And Teresa Jukowitz says, well, hello, all. Hi. Hey, Two Doves, Bees, and Gardens.
They're in California?
I'm telling you. Chris and Larry Homestead, hello. We appreciate you all. Hey, Rudy. Glad you're here, honey. He's going to keep us up with the time all the time. And Cynthia Delott from the Netherlands. She's all the way from the Netherlands. And she's
That's going to be late there.
I think, it's 8:00 here. What time is it there, Cynthia? We're always curious about that. Hey, Ronnie, we're glad you're here too. So we talked a lot about thinking out of the box and trying to see what you might have on your homestead that could be a possible income, something that you could really add to or even be self-sustainable. Hey, Troy Sutton, you cutie patootie, how you doing tonight? Oh, it's 2 midnight. Oh, my gracious, Cynthia, we love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. And so we're excited about being here at night, y'all. In fact, I said, it's 8:00. And this time change is killing me. I don't know about you. But by 8:00, I'm going, man, it's 9:00 somewhere. My body's telling me it's bedtime, but I can't even think about sleep with my friends. So I've thought of a couple of things, but Sandy, I wanted to hear some of your ideas that we talked about on the podcast that were so unique about different programs that you could get involved in and have supplemental income come in.
Well, I like to break things down, and we talked about this on the podcast. You may just think one way, but what can you do? I love apple trees. I have a lot of apple trees, and some years it is an abundance of apple trees. Right. Now, I could just sell the apples, right? I could, that would be an easy thing to do, make a little income, but I make way more money if I make jams, jellies, pies, breads, crisps. I could sell the scions off my apple trees so that people could make their own apple tree from that.
Okay.
And so whatever you're looking at, how can you break it down and even make more than what you really thought in the first place?
Right.
And I think it works on any homestead that you have. Like, Monica, you have a lot of different animals. How could you break it down?
Okay, so the obvious for me would be to I have cattle, so I can sell the beef. But I guess I could, if I'm dealing with cattle, I can sell the babies. I can sell the mama
Mhm.
baby pairs. I also can sell, well, for instance, like my rabbits, I can sell the manure. I can sell the meat. I can sell the rabbit itself. I can sell the breeding rabbits. I mean, I can break it down lots of different ways. So I can go a little further. I mean, selling the manure from the animals is huge. I
It
mean,
Right.
is.
a lot of people use that for gardening. I can use it to make compost and then sell that compost. I mean, maybe I'm not breaking it down enough. Am I missing something?
Well, no, there
Well,
was. Yeah, go ahead.
oh no, sorry, Ann. I was at a convenience store
Okay.
and we had just filmed that episode about, and you talked about your rabbits. And in that convenience store, they had scrunchies, that you would put on a ponytail. A lot of times it's just cloth. And they had taken rabbit pelts.
Oh,
They were so adorable.
What?
19.95 they were charging for each one.
Oh my gosh.
And
oh,
I thought of you and I thought, you probably could get at least 2 or 3 out of each pelt.
I need to start making some rabbit scrunchies.
I was about to say.
which I mean, oh my gosh, that's $60. You know,
Right.
if you're making, if you make 3 scrunchies,
Right.
how cool is that? And they had them in a little convenience store.
It was in a convenience store in the Black Hills in South Dakota. And they just had this rack and had all these different colored rabbit fur that were scrunchies.
Wow.
That's so
And
awesome.
and they had made some little hats. So it kind of looked like a Paul Bunyan hat, or not Paul Bunyan. One of those guys that wore
Yeah,
hats.
the raccoon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Johnny
Only
something.
these were made out of
Running
rabbit.
Appleseed.
Hey, too.
That's cool. That is so cool. No, I like never would have thought of that. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff with the hides, but like even here, when we're doing our rabbits, when we're processing them, nobody's wanting the hides. I've literally tried to give them away before, and people are not interested. We've tried to do things with them, but we're just not that great with it yet. So you try new things, but sometimes you're in a space where Davy Crockett. Yeah, there you go, Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett. So sometimes people just don't want them. But man, that's such a cool idea. I mean, there's a need for something somewhere, right?
Well, and
That's
that's not
right.
even including the meat that you could have sold from there or used.
Yeah.
Because I mean, once you take the fur off, you have the meat left. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's 60 plus whatever the meat. I mean, that's a nice little chunk for
Yeah.
one rabbit.
Well, I think sometimes people too miss on like when you're dealing with like larger animals. So when you're dealing with beef, so many people leave the meat. Well, they take the meat and at the processor, they not only leave the hide, they leave the head, they leave all the organ parts like the offal, they leave the fat. People are paying top dollar for tallow, beef tallow.
Yeah.
Like I get a big load of fat and I'm like, all right, I'll go ahead and just give it to my friend who makes tallow balm out of it. Now I've been keeping it because I wanted to try to make some for myself, but I'm like, people are paying so much money for beef tallow. It is crazy. And then I have a friend that makes bone broth, like tons of bone broth, and she sells her bone broth. Anytime I get extra bones, I'm like, hey, do you want these bones? I mean,
Right.
they sell the boxes of bones, beef bones, for $10 a box here in
Hey,
Texas
Scotty.
for scraps that people don't really want most of the time. And they
Right.
leave them behind at the butcher. So the
Right.
butcher resells them and sells them for
Right.
$10 a box. I'm like, just bring them home, do something with them. So yeah, I mean, that's a great way to make money is making sure you're selling all the parts and using those pieces to do something more.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. But like Casey, when you have turkeys,
Mm-hmm.
so and you sell the turkeys so that they could have them at Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
But if you broke it down, like any animal that you have that you're processing, if you break it down, like beef sells a half of beef, a quarter of the beef, a whole turkey. But would you make more money if it was processed and you just sold parts of that turkey?
Right. Oh yeah.
Well, wait.
And I think, because me and Monica talked about that a lot, especially the day before I processed my chickens and my turkeys.
Yeah.
Now, with Georgia state law, we as a homestead cannot sell pieces of
Oh,
chickens or turkeys unless it is processed at a USDA Processor, they are the ones that are able to do it. You as a homestead cannot. I can sell you up to 999 poultry whole with no licensing
Mhm.
for days.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
when you break it down, it gets a little sticky. But I one thing that I did, which giving away my secret on YouTube, I did cut it in half. I did cut, I spatchcocked the chicken and the turkeys, which is really not really that legal. But I mean, I didn't piece them out. It did say no piecing, so I didn't piece it out. I just cut it in half.
No, you didn't. You
Yeah,
didn't.
you didn't piece it
It's
out.
still one piece.
It's still one piece, and I was able to sell those for $1 more a pound than I did the whole turkeys.
Yeah.
And some
Wow.
small families that are a family of 4 or a family of 3
Right.
don't want a whole big turkey. They want a half a turkey. Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
right.
So I was able to make more money on that. But also with those feet. Now I know a lot of people use the feet for broth. I have not got to that life yet. Okay. I am not about that life yet. I will be about that life soon. But until then, I sold all of my feet to a couple different women for $30 a bag. And
What?
all
Oh,
of my
that's
feet were
great.
gone. So that's
That's
another
great.
way of making it, like as Monica
That's
said,
cool.
making sure you use every
Break
single
it down.
piece of that bird.
That's
Mhm.
Even
right.
the organs, because a lot of people, what do you do with the organs? Unless
Yeah,
you
chicken liver.
dehydrate or smoke them for dog food, that's a way to save money. And
Yep.
I asked the ladies this before we went live. I said either making money or bartering. But also if you make it for you, like if you process the chickens for you, you're saving money, which is really in turn
Yeah.
making
Mhm.
money for your
Yeah.
homestead.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Because
right.
instead of spending $500
Mhm.
at the grocery store, you're really spending $200 on raising these chickens, which in turn is saving you $300 or making you $300 on your homestead.
Yeah.
So
Well, we
Yeah.
talked about bartering, that's one of the things. Like I'm finally figuring out how to make cow tongue and how to do like beef heart and beef tongue. So people like are totally making like a lot of women are using like they have these companies that sell capsules with organ meat, beef organs, like heart and all the organs. And I'm like, I can dehydrate that. I can cook it, dehydrate it, put it in the capsules and use it. As
That's
a matter
right.
of fact,
are you're saying it's like good for like pregnancy and stuff?
it's good for actually all kinds of stuff. It's good to help regulate your hormones and all kinds of
Mhm.
things. There's a lot of
For
stuff there.
women.
Yes. But
Yeah.
even just in general, eating organ meat can be a really good thing. It's beneficial to your body. But like the tongue in particular, I'm learning how to use it. But I have a friend who loves it. And she was like, hey, I have a bunch of duck eggs. Are your ducks laying? And I'm like, no, they're a bunch of like lamos and they're not laying right now. She's like, well, I would love a tongue in exchange for 2 dozen duck eggs. And I'm like, that's
Oh,
the deal. So I
Yeah.
have like 2 dozen duck eggs that she collected, and all I did was exchange beef tongue. Now we barter like that all the time
that's
because
awesome.
for me it's so worth it because I'm getting something that I need and she's getting something that she doesn't want to go pay for in the store. And so
Yeah.
bartering is so awesome to do it that way. So
Now,
It's really
Miss
good.
Ann, you said you haven't bartered before. I know that me and Sandy and Monica are barterers from the bartering club.
Well, I mean, not officially. There are, I do for you, you do for me, or we look after each other, but, kind of sort of in a roundabout way. I do barter with neighbors. I barter and they get eggs and then they'll look after the chickens for us sometimes if we happen to
Oh,
go
that's
out of
good.
town. Things like that. You have a monthly homestead barter group locally here. That's wonderful.
I like
And
that
then
idea.
I know,
we
me
have
too.
some people in the chat. Teresa Jukowitz says you could sell the rabbit poop. And Terry says dog bones are at least $3.99 a pound in Nevada. And Chris and Larry say they freeze dry the offals for donkey treats. I'm assuming it would be the innards.
awful, like the innards, yeah, like the organ meat stuff. Awful. Yep.
Mhm. For the innards.
But okay, so what if you live in a state that won't let you sell your meat? How could you still make money? Couldn't you, like Casey? I think you had people out to your place. They've helped you, you know, uh, process your chickens. And so you're literally teaching them how to do something.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So I think every person on the planet has something to teach that
Mhm.
you could literally make money from. You
Yes.
know, how easy is it anymore to even make an Amazon book? You know,
Yeah.
you have your stuff, Amazon makes it, you have information, you can make some money.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Right.
true. Yep.
That's right.
Bringing
Yeah.
people out to teach them certain things. We did that here with a group. It's a local group. A couple years ago, we taught them how to process rabbits. Everybody showed up. They
Yeah.
paid money. We processed a few rabbits. They got the hands on, and then they went home and they actually we made a bunch of food with the rabbit meat so they could taste it ahead of time.
Yeah.
And people walked away with a rabbit in a bag or rabbit meat that they had had. I mean, it was really great to have that opportunity because you're teaching that hands-on skill. So
Right.
maybe you don't necessarily sell the meat, but maybe you're selling the knowledge and the how-to.
Right.
Well, and also in learning, having those people out, you never know what person may turn into a long-term customer, and not even call
Exactly.
him a customer. And because I know she's in the chat, she never types it in there, but shout out to Steph.
Hi, Steph.
She
And
one thing
Scotty.
that she did is she came and she got live turkeys and chickens from me. Yeah. But because
Okay.
we're coming out and then watching the processing,
Uh-huh.
now it's always a text and she's like, "Hey, under the table, can I get like 2 whole turkeys or can I get this or this?" And she's like, "But I got this. You want some freeze-dried candy?" So then
There
it
you go.
turns into like a bartering under the
Mhm.
table relationship that you have going forward. And you're like,
There you
"Oh,
go.
I have too many roosters. What do I do?" Oh,
Mhm.
Right.
Stephanie and see if she wants a rooster and
Yep.
Yeah.
you never know what relationship. I guess is what I'm saying. You never know what relationship you're going to gain from having that little class on your homestead of teaching
Yeah.
somebody how to process a chicken or a turkey.
That's
Exactly.
right.
That can make you money. Just having that one person there. So
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. And there is a time where I learned through us being here, I learned how to make my own calendula oil as far as
Mhm.
infusing it with castor oil. Castor
Mhm.
oil has so many wonderful benefits. Calendula has so many wonderful benefits. And so I joined them together. And even on the podcast, I said, well, I have these little calendula oils over here. I guess I could maybe sell some of them. And guess what? That's what I'm doing these days is selling some of my calendula oil. And so if you're interested, Casey has been so sweet and put up the Gmail to be able to contact me from the Land of Plenty products. And that's one thing that I do barter with others that make oils and salves and things like that. I'll send them some of mine, they send me some of theirs, which is wonderful to be able to have all these healthy products.
Mhm.
So
right.
I do have some calendula castor oil and some cayenne castor oil. So the calendula is good for bug bites and scrapes and scratches and all those kinds of things. So that's kind of fun to be able to try to sell those things. And I'm going to have a website. I'm really proud of myself.
Yay.
It's supposed to
Well,
be
I have
released
to.
next Tuesday.
Well, you talking about calendula oil, because we did the video on the calendula oil
Mhm.
for that collab and the lotions. Because of learning about that through y'all, lovely women, I was able at church. A woman was saying, "Oh, I'm getting this rash on my chest, and nothing is helping it. Like I've tried everything." I'm like, "No, you need to see if you can't find some calendula lotion." And
Mhm.
she
Yeah.
was like, "No, everything has worked, Casey." I was like, or everything hasn't worked. I was like, no, you haven't. Have you tried this? No. Okay. I'm telling you, just go and look. And Monica talked about a lotion that her kids know about. What was it? A pink or a blue bottle they know
Yeah,
about?
so it's I get it from Amazon all the time. It's just I don't know who even makes it, but it's just it's calendula cream, and basically we use it instead of Neosporin. It's an ointment. There's an ointment and a cream, and we use the ointment instead of Neosporin because I don't know how many 50 million ingredients are in Neosporin versus
Right.
calendula. And so we have the calendula. So the kids know calendula is pink and arnica gel and arnica cream is like green. So they know if they have a scrape or an open cut, they go for the calendula. And if they have a bruise or something that's inside an ache or a hurt, they go for the arnica. So
There
we
you go.
go back between calendula and arnica.
So basically, Amelia, if you're listening to this live or on the replay, you email this email address that's on the screen now. You
I
get
can
you
help you out.
calendula oil, and then you can rub it on. Because I'm not going to say she's an older lady, but she's a lady of years,
Experienced.
and she
Mhm.
doesn't. She's like me. We're real stubborn. We swear we know everything about everything, and we rarely try something new.
Well, it's
You
things that
know,
God already made and put on the earth, and that sort of helps us when we're a little more mature. We go, oh, okay, I might be able to do that. Well, thank you, everything guy. And he said, hello, I just subscribed. That's
Oh,
wonderful.
yay.
It really
thank
is.
Awesome.
you. So yeah, so that was a little push for Miss Anna because
Yeah,
I'm sure
thank y'all.
her
I didn't plan that, but
I did.
I'm excited
Um,
about it.
and I'm sure it's wonderful. I have been a
It is
slacker
very
and
good.
have not done any oil since that video. I have a bag of calendula flowers that are
Yeah.
sitting on my pantry, wasting away. But Miss
Well, I
Ann,
have
she
I
did
have
it.
psoriasis with psoriatic arthritis. And I have tried so many pharmaceutical
Mhm.
products, and they're all bad for you. And our skin is our biggest filter. And so I wanted to do something that was good for you, something that wouldn't hurt you. And the calendula castor oil is fabulous. Calendula is fabulous. And you put them together, that's great. And Whistletop Homestead has some wood. They've got pecan wood all over the place. Now you can do all kinds of things with those.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So maybe you can dry out the pecan wood or pecan wood, and you can take that wood, dry it out, and then why not use that to smoke your own cheeses? Like we were talking about in one of our videos.
Yeah.
Smoke your meats, smoke some things, and then sell them or barter that because maybe people aren't necessarily jonesing for that wood, but people be liking some
Well,
cheese.
real
Heck yeah.
fast because Monica, you did it. Oh yes, I got mine this morning. I'm so excited.
I'm
Okay,
freezing cheese right now. P.S. I'm freezing cheese right now.
I'm getting cheese
These are
tomorrow.
smokers, by the way. If y'all don't know, this is a
Well,
smoker.
they'll have to tune into our Black Friday episode where we
Yes.
talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to know what everybody thinks because Monica said this. Do we say pecan or pecan?
Well, y'all just make me feel bad when I say it like I say it because it sounds nasty now. But it is pecan.
I'm Southern too.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I just love it so much. Look, two doves,
It's
bees,
a
and
no
gardens.
argument.
Pecan,
argument.
not pecan. I made
Well.
it sound dirty because I said pecan is the thing you keep in your bedroom and you pee in at night.
Yes, you make me feel like I'm saying a bad word.
She said the pecan you keep under your bed, the pecan you eat.
No,
That's what Eric's family had in West Virginia when it was too dark and too cold to leave the room at night. You had that little pecan right next to your bed. That's where all the
well, I
boys
mean,
went
I
to pee at
have
night.
a pecan or two, but this is pecan.
Yeah,
from
but
pecan.
I really hope, when you're listening to what Anne's doing as a homesteader or somebody who wants to be a homesteader,
Mhm.
she took something that we had a collab about,
Right.
and she saw a niche,
An opportunity.
an opportunity that she could, from her homestead, that she could
Mhm.
make some extra money. And if you look around your homestead, I think you might be surprised at how many different things, from vegetables and fruits and animals, like there are so many things to do with chickens, because people get chickens and they think, oh, I can sell the eggs. Well, yes, you can sell the eggs, but you know how many people will buy pullets? Those eggs
Right.
those chicks got a little bit bigger, and they're, if they're closer to wanting to lay, people are willing to pay extra money for that.
Right.
There's just, chickens are one of those easy things that homesteaders have that you can make a lot of money on on your homestead from them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How many people don't want to hatch their own eggs out, but they'll certainly buy them from somebody.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Look, I've got an incubator going with eggs right now. These are specialty birds that my son has acquired from a friend of ours who said, I have too many eggs. I just throw them into the pasture and let the animals eat them. And he
Oh,
said, they're little mini like bantams, and they're like all the specialty ones. They're like Saramas and little bantam cochin, like specialty stuff. And so my 12-year-old said, I'll take them. Can I incubate them? And can I sell the babies? And he said, absolutely. He said, you can sell these babies for top dollar. And he goes,
Ooh.
Mom, what do you think? And I said, I don't care. So my
Yeah.
12-year-old has a little business that he started where he's incubating very high quality, top notch, expensive eggs. And when those babies hatch, he's got a market. He said, I just need you to help me sell them because I'm 12 and I don't have social media. I was like, I got you, boy. So there's things that people don't want to do. Not everybody has incubators. Not everybody has the means or the time to deal with hatching
Right.
or has the access to these birds. So
Yeah.
why not, use that,
Yeah, thunderstick. And he says, but props to the kid for the hustle.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. And there was something that Sandy had said as well, is that being able to teach what we do. Like in North Carolina, I won't particularly be able to sell anything that is consumable. It has to be topical.
Mhm.
And or I've got my garden in the globes. I have my Uncle Wayne's hand carved wooden spoons. I have all those types of things that will be selling soon. But so I can teach how to make my oregano oil, right? I could maybe teach how to do that because that's
Exactly.
a great, wonderful antibiotic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could teach others how to do it.
Yeah,
That sounds like a good members only class. Just
Yeah.
saying.
There you go.
Well, and all of us have YouTube channels. So we can, of course, teach them, but open your horizon a little bit.
Mhm.
There are extensions that maybe 4-H kids would like to learn. Different churches a lot of times will be bringing speakers. Like I have taught gardening classes at different churches around where I live because everybody loves to learn about gardening.
Yeah.
That's right.
There is always new people that are starting gardens.
That's right.
I've always believed you should have income streams that fill a basket. Because you never know what's going to happen in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you depend on just one thing, sometimes those things don't work out, but if you can, and I think that's even scriptural, that you should have 6 things. And then he goes, even 7 things to fall back on.
Hey, Stephen Sheets, we're so glad you're here.
Well, Sandy, you saying that was important because I can't remember if I talked about it on the podcast, but I remember listening to a Instagram woman, I think it was, that said it is a lot harder to make $10,000 from one thing.
Yep.
It is $1,000 from 10 things.
There you
like
go.
Basically, don't put all your eggs in one basket. We're talking about chicken, so kind of thing. But if you can make $1,000 from 10 different things, that's a lot easier to get $10,000 for the year than it is waiting for one thing to make that $10,000 for you.
That's right. That's right.
Right. And as we do more things on our homesteads, we become wiser.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we become, in some area of our homestead, maybe an expert.
Oh.
And then people really want to know what you know. Right. And that's important. And I have always thought a workman is worth their pay.
Yes,
absolutely.
So because sometimes as homesteaders or just people, we think, oh, I'd like to teach that, but I have to charge somebody.
Yes,
well, if I want to learn something, I am more than willing to pay because that person is an expert. Right. They know what they're talking about. So it's going to be worth my time and I can use that information later. So don't think that you can't charge for a class that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think sometimes it's hard to realize our own value and our own worth because we feel bad because we have a platform where we can share very freely. Our knowledge, but there's also times where you have to share what you know hands-on. And sometimes that hands-on is very important. I know that I watched so many times, I watched Joel Salatin piece out a bird. And then I finally went and did it and I had to literally go back into the house, watch on the TV, run back outside to the processing table and do it again. And I didn't do it right until I had done it 3 or 4 or 5 times. And I finally got
Right.
it down. And so when I was making videos of how to do it, I wanted to try to do it just like I knew how to do it and as best I could. But when it came time for me to explain it to people, it's so hard to do. And so
Yeah.
sometimes you need more than a video. Sometimes you need a person
Right.
literally taking your hand
Yeah.
and saying, shove it inside there and pull out everything. Make your hand like this, do like this, and reach in and grab. Because sometimes when you have that person right next to you, your confidence level goes way up.
Yep.
Much
Right.
more than
So much
rewinding
better.
the video back and forth over again. But I
Yeah.
think that sometimes we don't feel our worth and our value when we're like, well, we can do it for free. We can just give it to
very
people
true.
because YouTube is free. But
Yeah.
I think that there still is so much value in paying someone for something. Like you said, I mean,
Mhm.
I'll pay people for doing the work. If they're going to do the work for me, I want to pay them for it, or at least
Absolutely.
barter
Well,
them for it.
and and this is not deterring people from watching our videos, because of course we do want you to watch our videos
Yes.
and learn from it. But I will say, and this is just speaking from my experience, when you watch me bake something or cook something on YouTube, which I do a lot, usually it took like 7 other videos of me cussing at my phone because I messed something up. So it is a lot easier to actually learn in person. Like if me and Sandy are standing right beside each other, Sandy say, okay, no,
Absolutely.
Casey, do this. This is
That's
easier.
right.
Instead of you rewinding every single time Sandy saying, okay, I put this and this and this because you could hear that so many times and still get it wrong. So yes, don't devalue your worth.
Yeah.
Your worth
Yeah,
is
because we make our videos and maybe they're 10 minutes long, 15 minutes long. But if you really want to dive into a subject
Mhm.
to really learn a lot of things, you can't do it in 10 or 15 minutes. You
No.
need to have that opportunity to really learn from that mentor.
That's right.
And I
I
think
mean,
it's important.
as we start to do things that we learn off of videos, and it is a 10-minute video and it takes us 3 hours.
right.
Oh my gosh. When Eric's like, hey, do you want to do a video on that? I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
don't. I don't. You want me to do a video on it? Here's me. I'll just do like this. Hi guys, I'm making this now. Come follow along.
Right.
Eric's got the production. He wants it to look great. Great
Yeah.
transitions. I'm like, I can't do
Yeah.
it.
But really, those videos actually make you more money, make more money on the homestead. I've noticed that. That's why I've stopped doing all these fancy angles. I'm setting up a camera, I'm tilting it down, and you come in with me as I find the stuff in the pantry and beyond.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, I
That's
think
good.
it's so important to look and see everything that you have that you can do. And Sandy said it really well when she said, look and see what you like to do or what you're good at and find value in that and share with others. Maybe if you have something to teach someone, that's really where you can make money on your homestead
Break it
or
down.
in your house. You don't have to be on a homestead to make money. You can make money right where you're at and have that stream of income, whether it's doing YouTube videos, whether it's teaching classes, whether maybe you're baking bread and you're exchanging or selling bread with people. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do things.
Yeah, and on the actual podcast that came up yesterday, we talked about so many more things, like
Mhm.
people on homesteads that have property, renting out garden spaces,
Yes.
renting out your buildings, your outbuildings that you don't use,
Mhm.
having wind power, solar power, all kinds of stuff that you can do that you may not have thought about. We even talked about there's a government agency that will pay you for not cutting your trees down.
Which is
You
so
apply
cool.
for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. And we had talked about also when you do rent out those little garden plots to others that they can rent your tools, your tiller or so they don't have to buy them, $5 for a couple of hours or something to be able to, they bring their own gas.
Yeah, and what about a class for 2 hours on gardening?
Yeah.
You know,
While they're
because-
there, teach them.
Yeah, every single place in America is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So just because you're a good gardener and then you move to another state, it's good to learn from somebody that's been doing it right there.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that was the hardest part for me being here in Texas, living in Maryland for my whole life, finally figuring out how to garden there and doing it for just 2 or 3 years, getting it down pat, raising some chickens there. And then all of a sudden now I have to garden somewhere else. I was like, yeah, I can totally grow the same stuff. I could
Right.
not grow the same stuff. I can't grow potatoes here to save my life. But in Maryland, I didn't have a problem growing potatoes.
Right.
Things were so much different there.
Lucky.
Well, I had to really learn how to do it. I still can't grow potatoes here, but you really do need to learn how to do things where you're at. And it's a big difference when you jump from one place to another.
Yeah. And why take 2 years or 3 years to learn that when you can learn it from somebody that's actually already doing it?
Yeah.
That has the ins and outs of your soil, your temperature, your humidity.
Mhm.
It can make a big difference. And for me, I'm willing to barter or exchange something or pay for that
Yeah.
knowledge.
Well, I thought it was awesome too. We were talking about, I think we talked about like saplings and things like that. And it made me think there's a lady up the road and she's got a little homestead. She doesn't really do much, I don't think, in her backyard, but she must do something somewhere because every year she has a large amount of extra tomato seedlings, like little starts.
Mhm.
She sells so many starts right out of her driveway. She
Isn't
puts it
that
on her
awesome?
she can puts it on her community page and she's like, I have all these starts, every tomato you could want. She lists all the tomato starts, all the pepper starts, everything she has already started. And she lays them out there for anybody that didn't have time or didn't want to pay the big box store prices
Right.
because they're so expensive. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'd rather give a couple bucks to a lady up the road that I know has grown them in her space that only lives right down the street from me than to take a chance on maybe the Bonnie plants that are coming in at my local box store that may not have been grown locally.
Right.
So
And Glenda from Grace and Fire says she hired somebody to teach her certain home renovation things.
love
Yeah.
that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
It saved her money. It gave her knowledge. If she needs to do it again, she'll know how to do it.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's wonderful. Well, this has been so fun and so good. And we love our recap. So if y'all will stick with us on Tuesday nights now, we'll be at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. And we know that everybody's got to do their own thing. We're usually the 30-minute guys and gals, right?
Mhm.
But we do appreciate you all being here. And so, Casey, you want to close us out here tonight, my darling?
Oh, I get the wonderfulness of closing out. Well, I do want to say that if you are unable to watch us live, you will be able to watch us on Friday as a rerun because every Tuesday, our Tuesday ones will be on the Round the Hay Bale live. So you do have to go over to Round the Hay Bale YouTube,
Mhm.
click that subscribe button and the bell, so it notifies you, all that fun stuff. And then all of our reruns will come at noon Eastern. At Round the Hay Bale, just in case you're having lunch at work and you don't know who to listen to, pull us up, take a listen, join us. But we appreciate everyone coming in tonight and leaving comments and thumbsing up, and we hope everyone's having a wonderful night. And we will see y'all next Tuesday night. This is going to be fun. We'll see everybody. Bye, y'all. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Hey, Monica, did you know it's now even easier to listen to Round the Hay Bale podcast?
What? Really? How easy?
That's right. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Round the Hay Bale podcast.
Playing Round the Hay Bale podcast on Apple Music.
Ooh, we're really fancy now.
Tune in to Round the Hay Bale every Monday at 9 a.m.